It is a very good day. It is a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm saying this because we have a global reach, so we don't know where you are, but we know that you are watching SlyMedia TV, and I want to welcome you on the program where we are bringing a number and different topics where we are discussing issues that affect people in the country, political, economic, and social issues that we bring on the program. My name is Perfect Hlongwane and I'll be your host for the next 1 hour. We are going to be discussing issues with regards to the political landscape, the whole body polity of this country. And who else to help us do that besides those that are participating and are players in the political fray to help us discuss and have issues clarified with insofar as issues to do with politics are concerned. And let me also say to those that are tuned in, invite others to tune in. Tell others to tune in and like our page, post and share so that you don't miss anything that we broadcast here on SlyMedia TV. So this morning we are going to be discussing or having a focus on the just ended by-elections 26 March. We know what happened and we know the issues that you're talking about every day anyway with regards to the outcome of those elections. But we also are going to be focusing into 2023 and say, what is it that we want to see as a country as we are going into 2023? And I have on the program Senator Morgan Komichi. He is not a new name, and he has been in politics for quite some time now. But let me introduce him to you. Welcome to the program and welcome to SlyMedia TV.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Senator Komichi is also the chairperson of the MDCT, MDC Alliance, and we are going to be discussing what happened on 26 March. Let's start there. Senator Komichi. What happened on 26 March?
On the 26th of March this year,
yes,
people went for a by-election.
Yeah.
In which they were selecting their representatives in council and some in parliament. We saw what happened. We did not perform very well.
Yes.
Actually, we did badly. We performed very badly.
Yeah.
When we compare to ZANU-PF and the CC, we learned the lesson from there. That was a communication from the people. We have so far understood what they were trying to say, and we accept the results. What we did as a party was to call for a conference, so press conference, in which we accepted the results and congratulated the winners. We then called our national executive and our national council, and we endorsed the results. And we then checked ourselves, looked ourselves in the mirror, and we are now ready to go forward. We are now getting ready to prepare for the 2020 election. So we took note of all the mistakes that we did, and we will deal with them.
There are issues that you are raising that are quite important that I want us to talk about. The first thing is that you are admitting that you performed badly in the by-election. And the second thing is that you then say you gathered and congratulated those that won. Now, do you think that as you were going into the by-election, you were too confident or overconfident as you were heading into the by-election?
Definitely. We were very confident. One thing that made us very confident was our message. Politics of tolerance, politics of rational disputation, the issue of national dialogue is the bridge to the economic survival of this country. We're so clear, we're so confident. We strongly believe that the people would understand the message. They would want something that would give them hope, something that will assure them of the real change. Something that will assure them of dealing with issues of economic crisis, political crisis, and social crisis. No any other political party had a message People voted for ZANU-PF, I don't know for what reason. People voted for CCC, we don't know for what reason. But the real message that would be really resolve the economic crisis of this country was tabled by MDC. So we still believe the people might not have understood us. Probably.
Why do you think? Why do you think that people may have reacted the way they reacted when you had that message?
Probably we didn't manage to communicate. Probably we did not have the enough infrastructure. We did not invest enough resources into communications. We did not reach out to the people with our message. I think the propaganda politics took an edge over us. People listened to the propaganda politics. They did not listen to the real message. But we strongly believe wherever Zimbabwe is going to go, we are going to come to the negotiating table. We believe that. No matter, it might be time. It may not be today, but it will be tomorrow, or it will be next year. People will have to sit down and negotiate and deal with issues of economic crisis, deal with issues of political crisis, social crisis. Without a negotiation, without a dialogue, there is no answer. I believe election itself is not a solution to anything. We have had elections for the last 40 years, 42 years. We have had elections. But things that we've been crying about are still there. The economy continues to decline today. The political crisis continues to decline today. Social crisis continues to affect our people. But we've been voting and voting and voting. So election on its own is not a solution.
What would you think is a solution to
the solution problems? Is a national dialogue.
Yeah.
A national dialogue where everybody comes together with their issues, their grievances, their whatever is worrying them, their policies, their ideas, and develop a concrete agreement that will ensure it would then develop a vision that is common in Zimbabwe, a vision that is supported by everybody, everyone in the country. As long as we don't have or don't share the common vision and we don't work together or travel together, as long as we travel in different directions, whatever I do, someone will undo it. Whatever I build, someone will unbuild it. And as long as we're in that situation, Zimbabwe will not go anywhere. And not only Zimbabwe, Africa will not go anywhere. Why I am contesting an issue election, we don't understand that animal called election.
Actually, I wanted to ask you a follow-up question on that, to say, if you say elections are not a solution to the challenges that we're facing in this country, are you also saying that people do not know what they want when they vote for the leaders that they vote for?
That is the way the problem is.
Yeah.
That is the way the problem is. Election is part of the solution. Probably it's just a third of the solution.
Yeah.
The 2/3 part of the solution is not election. The bigger part of the solution to the Zimbabwean crisis is actually the national dialogue. You go to the election to elect a president. Then the president has got the responsibility to dialogue with the contested states and come out with a governance system that is inclusive in nature.
Yeah.
So that after an election, there is nobody who is going to go to China to talk bad about Zimbabwe. So that there is nobody who is going to go to Britain to talk about Zimbabwe. As long as we miss the element of inclusivity, collective effort, coming together and dialoguing. After an election, there's always this mantra, Tarigwa, Vabira.
Yeah, but do you believe that happens though?
Yes, of course. Vabira, it's there. It's an inherent problem that is
rigging is an inherent
that
problem.
Is associated with elections.
Okay.
The winner will say andina kuriga. The loser will say ndarigwa. It's inherent. You cannot remove it from the people. Wherever you go, internationally, we've had one of our best democracies in the world, America.
Yeah.
People attacking capital, fighting with the elections were rigged. So it's an inherent problem with the elections. So the solution is not election alone. Election is just a third of the solution.
Yeah.
The bigger part of the solution comes in the dialogue, in the inclusive national dialogue after elections. People sit down together, dialogue around the table, find each other, and give each other responsibilities to make sure that we deal with issue economy, issue politics, issue anything. We've had a sample of this situation.
Yeah.
The only time I can say we had a fruitful election was 1980, before you were born.
Okay.
Yes. That was the only time we had a fruitful election in Zimbabwe, which gave us the independence. But you see, the leaders of that time did not leave each other outside. ZANU won election by 56 seats. ZAP got about 20 or so. But they brought in Ian Douglas Smith. They brought part of Mzorewa. They brought in ZAPU in the system. And the government of national unity was established. During that time, it was a beneficial government because it benefited all people across the board, from the opposition, from the defeated party, the Smith party, the winning party, and the contesting party ZAPU. They all came together. And the solution was found, which benefited the ordinary person. Elections at the moment don't benefit the ordinary person. They benefit Morgan Komichi, who becomes the senator. They benefit Shelton Wende, who becomes the member of parliament. They benefit Michael Piri, who becomes the councillor. But the ordinary people whom you see here, who have sweated to go and vote and voted for us, would not benefit anything for the next 5 years. And I can't prescribe to that as a solution. To me, we are failing to think outside the box. So what we are advocating as MDC is that let us sit down around the table. It is those people that have been enemies that are supposed to dialogue. A dialogue is composed of people that have hated each other, that have killed each other, that have been who did not see eye to eye. These are the people that qualify to be. Should we have room
in our politics in this country where we say because someone is opposing, they become my enemy? Should we have that room?
That is, you see, people have defined democracy, but application is very different. People have written constitutions in which they say we are a democratic state, we want to practice democracy, but the moment you contest me, you are my number one enemy.
How is that?
That is world over. Look at what has been happening in our politics during Mugabe's time. Kusvika iko zvino pana comrade Nangagwa. Unotorwa netsvimbo musoro if you want to stand against them. You'll be youth that will be sent to come and beat you. And women will be raped. Women will be burned down. And there will be insecurity among the people in the whole country. We've lost a lot of lives from time immemorial. You remember the elections of 1985, of 1990, 2000. We have lost lives, we have lost homes, because people don't want to be contested. Yet we've written in our constitution that we are a democratic society. We want to practice democracy. Even in the political parties, when you go for national congress, people get poisoned. People go to witchcraft. People go and get malumra to come and fight democracy. Democracy. And if you contest someone in a political party, you become number one enemy. You are spoiled. Everything. People talk bad about it. So we are talking about an animal which we don't understand, an animal which we will never appreciate, an animal that was wrongly defined by whoever defined democracy. Because democracy, outcome of democratic processes in all over the world, they create hate, enmity, distraction, fights, and conflicts. So out of democracy, you don't get anything. So what we are calling for...
Is it a failed political ideology, do you think?
It is.
Democracy?
It is, especially in the context of Africa and America of late. America has been the leading democratic state. It failed in the last elections. In Africa, it has never worked. In Africa, it has never produced what we want. We elect leadership for what? For them to provide economic prosperity, for them to provide political stability, for them to provide social prosperity. They don't do that. They don't do that. There's nothing. Give me one country in Africa which has gone to an election and is actually prospered. Let's say Zambia. It has changed 7 presidents. Can you admire Zambia?
I know that a lot has been said about Botswana, and given as an example.
Can you admire Zambia? Malawi has gone for elections. 5 presidents have been changed. Can you admire Malawi? So it's not only elections that is the solution. Election is just part of it, of election. So we need to redefine our governance system in Zimbabwe. And I also call outside the boundaries of Zimbabwe. SADC must do the same thing. Africa must do the same. Let's really look at the process that we've borrowed. These processes have been practiced some way for the 300, 400 years ago. And we've borrowed that. And by the fact that we borrow these systems, we are then marked like school children. After an election, a big country somewhere else, stated in the United States, in China, they would mark our processes. And they will give you marks, 2 out of 10. Election year failure. It was not free and fair. And because we have not done that, we will not give you financial support.
So I want to come to you now, Senator Komichi, and find out where was your Damascene moment, your turning point in this. Because we know from records, when you were, which you are still, part of the MDC, these are the issues that we're talking about, that these are failed elections, singing the same song with the capitals that you're talking about.
I do agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm one guy who, in 2014, actually realized that we are following the wrong route. We as Africans are making a mistake. We as Africans were following a broad system that will never practice, that will never understand, the platform that will never develop us as Africans. Because the process that we are following at the moment, we have no African identity. There is no African culture in it. There is no, we don't know how to use it. That's why it's like you are driving on a platform that you don't understand. You want to achieve something. You are like, you want to drive a vehicle that you don't know how to drive it, and you would be involved in so many accidents because you do not drive it. Because the system that we are using in Africa is a Western system that we don't understand, the system that was developed for their purposes, a system that was to resolve their own issues, their own environment. Africa needs to develop its own governance system that is in tandem with its own culture and identity. A governance system that will be able to resolve our own issues. A governance system that will carry, a governance system that will check among ourselves. Must improve it. This time around, we are being checked by the Americans, by the British, by the Chinese. Look at the two worlds, Western, Eastern. The Eastern world has got its own system of governance. The Western world has got its own system of governance. Africa doesn't have anything. Africa, we are torn in between by the Eastern and the Western. After every election, we are divided into two. After every election, the riggers or the winners are taken by the East. The losers and the criers are taken by the West. And throughout the whole process, 5 years, instead of you will be fighting among yourself. Instead of forgetting about elections, focus on togetherness, build the economy of the country for the people to benefit. They don't benefit. Throughout the whole 5 years, members of parliament will be benefiting as individuals, getting good cars, councillors getting land and everything else, allowances and so forth. But the voters themselves will be suffering because we are fighting a war that we don't understand. We're fighting a war that does not belong to us. We're fighting a war that comes from the East and from the West, and we are used as scapegoats for their own fight. Just imagine if in 2018, if Comrade Chamisa and Comrade Mnangagwa, after having contested so closely, if they had come together and dialogued and formed a national government, a GNU, this country, I can bet you, this economy in Nikaini could be far, far, far away from where we are today.
Do you think our electoral system is one to blame, where we say winner takes all?
We have made a mistake. 42 years down the line, we've never developed a homegrown system. We've just borrowed a system from America, borrowed a system from China, borrowed a system from Russia, borrowed a system from and we don't understand them because we don't know their origin. They have no cultural identity. They don't have a cultural identity in the African context. We have to develop our own cultural system, developed by the African brain. We've gone to school not to come and just copy. We have gone to school to be innovative.
And thinkers.
To think and develop our own system. So the system that we are using are borrowed. Okay. They are not ours. We don't understand them. That's why our governance, our economy, our cultures, our everything, our politics is failing because we are riding on a borrowed system. We must develop our own African governance system, which already has got shown. We build our life on relationship.
Yeah.
And the relationship is about vanogara pamatare. Magara pamatare movaka zvinoendera mberi zvamunowirirana. We've heard these examples. We've heard this. The first government of Zimbabwe in 1980 was a government of GNU. Everyone was involved. Vana Muzoreva vanga varimo, vana Smith vanga varimo, vana Ngoma vanga varipo, vana Mugabe vachitungamirira. Check the economic growth during that time. The stability, the harmony, the togetherness, the happiness in the young people is that is common language. Takafara.
Okay, let's move on to back to the MDCT. I know what you are pushing is a national dialogue, and you say you want rational disputation.
Yes.
Now, when we look at what is happening in the MDCT after the by-elections, it does not show rational disputation. It does not show the interest of you dialoguing. We have seen members who have been kicked out of the MDC because of some pronouncements. Is it not an issue that at least that dialogue, before you go to ZANU-PF, before you go to CCC, that dialogue must start with you within the MDCT?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
It must start with us. And we are doing that. Panita any activity or action, Panama side effects analytic. But the core objective here is to dialogue, is to engage each other. Yes, of course, we got 1 or 2 victims that were out of this. Because
is it 1 or 2? Because after the elections, we saw reports that you had recalled councillors from.
The recall is something else. We'll talk about that later. But within the party itself, that kind of we had our own internal problems after the elections. Yeah. Which yes, of course, but we've managed to contain it. Yeah. We had 1 or 2 victims, but we've managed to contain it. We are people that told that we are part that tolerates the divergence. We must accept any criticism. We managed to contain. We have not condemned it. We have not condemned it. We are moving on.
How have you managed to do that? How have you contained it?
You can see today the stability, there's quietness in the party. We've accepted the outcome of the elections, and we've also accepted the criticism. There are some other people who could not condemn the criticism or the shock. We defeated heavily with the shock of the outcome of the results. That has got its own effects. But we've managed to contain the stability. Now there's order in the party now. To the question that you've just brought in, Yakuita Maricos, that's when a person belongs to the other political party, you cannot continue to be in the same party that you are not supporting.
Yeah, but the question is, recalling them, is it not a harsh decision that is in opposition with a dialogue? Is it not an issue that you needed to call them onto the table, discuss with them?
Just imagine, with a sharp age of our difference, you're only 2 years old.
Yeah.
And these people have been there. Persuasion has been taking place.
Okay.
Tolerance has been taking place. No one ever command, one ever second, one ever na baba. Because if we had recalled them on a single day, that question would qualify. But this is after 2-3 years down the line, and people have made their own choice. They've decided to go, their own way.
Direction.
But they've been given time. It's not that good we didn't know that so and so things like this. We knew, but we're going through a process of persuasion.
Okay.
To know, understand. But when a person really comes to a point where I make a decision, and the ashada, I know anoenda hake nokuti hazvigonika kuti uti uri mu-MDC iwe woita zvinhu zvezanu-PF. Kana izanu-PF ukaona kuti wakuita zvinhu zve-MDC uri muzanu vanokushedzawo.
So what's going to happen?
Even vanhu vari ku-CC ukaona uchiita zvinhu zve-MDC vanokushedza kuti chimbomira. So that one is...
So because you bring this in, what is going to happen with members of parliament who are still under MDC alliance? And we have seen them at political rallies, the CCC, clad in their regalia.
They can still be recalled.
Are you going to do that?
This actually shows the patience that we have. Because we are not gullible. We are not there after their lives. If we're gullible, we could chase them all of them at once. But we want to engage them, to persuade them. So we really are not Vasinga considered all those things. We are trying to persuade them. They are still there in parliament because we are trying to persuade them. So today, this politics of rational disputation, this politics of engagement, this politics of persuasion, we actually follow that. That's why we still have those people in parliament. Otherwise, if we're as ruthless as the people want to describe us, we could just one day write recalls and they would go.
But people are actually saying that it is a trick that you are pulling out of the book. So that you have you are given the political funds. You want to keep them in parliament so you remain relevant.
We actually want to persuade them. We actually need them as people to support us. That's our major. That one is a byproduct, really, the one that you're talking about. It's a byproduct. The real
from the engagement,
the real objective is actually to continue engaging them, persuading them. And remember when we started, we were just a few people. But with time, the numbers increased. So that's what we want, and that's what we need. And now that there is semblance of understanding, the politics of rational disputation is also being copied by other political parties. We will identify each other and proceed as a team.
Do you think in the engagements that you have had with the members of parliament that are still that are aligned to other political parties, is there light at the end of the tunnel?
Yes,
the discussions
we will continue to encourage them. We will continue to engage them. We will continue to make them see light that we need to go this way. So we are not really gullible. We want people to be expelled and so forth. Otherwise, if we wanted that to take place, we should have just written one letter with all names and all people should be on the street. We don't want that kind of thing.
So there is also an issue that when you look at what is happening in the body polity of this country, you find that ZANU-PF, for instance, is admitting and readmitting those members that were chased out, who were G40, and the CCC is a newly party. We have seen them saying that they have also taken on board Madame Coupe, who was against them. What is your strategy of survival going into 2023 when you continue to not have or to dismiss people? I am saying dismiss because I'm looking at the case of Zimbabwean as an example.
Zimbabwean was dismissed by the party. It was unfortunate. He's a very strong cadre. We would really have wanted him to be with him, but he jammed the gun. He was disappointed by the outcome of the by-elections, just like anyone else. Probably he did not follow the right procedure. He became a victimist, of course. But that's not what we want. We don't want to expel people. The party is there to recruit new members, to recruit more people from all political parties, from all pools. We need to fish out. So really the key objective is to recruit more people. So we would want to avoid as much as possible to have people expelled. We would rather engage them, talk to each other, try to reason to each other. Sometimes a person might misjudge a situation and come to a conclusion early. So if we engage that person, then those people will be able to maintain our home. We want to get new members. We want to recruit from ZANU-PF, also recruit from CC, and any other political party. That's our agenda. Because our message is going to be a cake That is of our moment. Because our message of national dialogue will be the only solution for Zimbabwe. Whatever you do now, but if you don't not dialogue, you will not achieve anything. Whatever you do now, if you do not work together as Zimbabweans and build a government of inclusivity, you will not go anywhere. The solution for Zimbabwe and Africa at large is to build governance of inclusivity. We've got a very living example in Africa. A living example is in Rwanda. Rwanda governance structure, look at it. The president is from another party, the vice from another party, the prime minister from another party. It's a conglomerate of many political parties. And look at the prosperity of Rwanda in terms of the economic growth. Everyone is admiring Kigali and all those things. So the foundation of our African growth governance system must be built out of inclusivity. The winner-take-all principle must be thrown away into the dishes of it's a devilish system. It's an evil system which must not be entertained by Africans. The winner-take-all principle divides Africans. We become enemies of ourselves. And at the end of the day, our children, our women, and our wives, and our brothers and fathers suffer economically because of the system that we have employed, which we have borrowed from the Western world or from the Eastern world. I don't want to see that system in Zimbabwe. I don't want to see that system in Africa. We must build this collective approach. Umwe yatinoziva from our culture. Tinoshanda neumwe, baba okwaningi, mai okwaningi, torima munda medu, takabatana tichirima, goro kura musha, vana vawanda. That is the governance system must develop as Africans and as Zimbabweans.
So as you are speaking about racial disputation as a political party, going into 2023, I want also to find out from you, do you think that as a country, our people, the electorate, is come to a point where they now understand, or they are politically conscious to an extent of understanding that racial disputation is the way to go, if the challenges that we see are going to be dealt with?
We have been working on this thing for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
We've been calling for Zimbabwean politicians to come together around the table, to be patriotic, to look at our national events as a unity. The last independence that was done in Bulawayo this last Monday, you could look at the colors that were there. The red colors were there in terms of the MDC, the yellow colors were there, the mixture of those colors were there, the president of the country was addressing. Senior leadership from opposition political parties, Vanamkoma Maduku, they were there. That is what we must do. This should be the beginning of the realization that as long as we are used by superpowers, we will continue to be subjects and we will continue to be victims of our own. Let us come together, MDC, VCC, ZANU-PF, around the table and say, Zimbabwe, let make sure that future. Not what we are going through now. If we go to election 2023 and Morgan Komichi wins, and I don't respect the government of inclusivity, I'll be wasting people's times. It would be stupid for me to do that. Because it's not a question of you becoming the president or the prime minister. It's not that. It's not for me to drive a Benz outside there. It's for me to ensure that when I'm I want to pass it. When I'm I want to pass it. That's the role of a leader. So some of us will realize this. We just the Damascus moment. It was in 2014. When I deliberately wrote for a master's degree in peace, leadership constitution with Zoe. And my topic and thesis was that election is a peace spoiler. I still have it. Election is a peace spoiler. You are wasting time following the route of election. It divides the people. People hate each other. There's no way we've used elections in Africa and we've developed African economies. Nothing. The only time we had development in Zimbabwe was 1980 when we were GNU, 1987 with the GNU, in 2008 with the GNU. If you check our economic growth graph, it rose 1980, it went down. It rose 1987, it went down. It rose in 2009 to 2014, it has gone down. It's going deeper and deeper. It's famba. Because we are using a wrong governance system that has got nothing to do with African people, that is no identity with us, that is not cultured with our system. We must throw it away. We must use it as part of it to elect a president. We must use it as part of it to elect a president. But immediately after elections, you must form government of national unity. Bring in give them positions. So that when we are now focusing on the vision, the economic vision, we all sing the same song. No one's going to fly to Britain and say it's Nazite. But again, or when China, it is Nazite. No one.
Again, when you go the national government, the government of national unity way, and you want to cast your eyes back to 2009, people actually are saying that things did not move as people expected because there were a lot of squabbles between political parties. A minister from MDC would not take orders from Prime Minister or vice versa.
Prime Minister would not even address his council of ministers. Yes, this is the living example I'm giving you. But when we all agree on the concept, ZANU-PF ilikutonga yabuma. The MDC mabvuma, the CC mabvuma, the NCA mabvuma, the user mabvuma. It's now an agreement. Because Robert Ngabanga election na Morgan Changirai. So it was under pressure from the SADC in Africa at large, in the whole world. So instead of committing himself to the truth of that process,
we want to blame you now because you were there.
You can't blame me. Can I need that offer something? You want to cheater? To not blame our cheater because we are honest. So Morgan Changirai and MDC were very honest about that. We wanted to build a government of national unity. But besides all that, what we're talking about, but at least if you look at the national economic growth graph, there was a rise. It was stabilized. We had the things that changed. Economy change. Vanokambora mazvakanaka, maschools akavhuriwa, zvipatara zvikavhuriwa, vanokambo unopenyo kanaka. With Mugabe cheating us in the process, he was not honest in the process. That is the element we want to remove in the leadership that is there today. If President Mnangagwa is going to agree to a government of national unity, he must commit himself to the honest requirement. Don't look at this selfish agenda of power. Look at the lives of our own people. Look at the lives of our own children. Look at the lives of our own mothers and wives. We've suffered so much for 42 years. We've suffered. And if you then continue and think with election, Komichi, then also the solution, you are not telling us the truth. Because Zambia has removed 7 presidents, Malawi has removed 5 presidents, until Africans make use of each other, to collectively work towards the economic agenda yenyika dzavo, Africa will never develop. We must actually look at the bigger picture and say, why is it Africa, which is minerals, the richest continent in the world, is the poorest continent in the world? It's because we are using a governance system that is borrowed, a governance system that has got nothing to do with us, a governance system that we must throw in the dustbin and develop our own, which is the government of coexistence, a government of inclusivity, a government of tolerance, like in Zimbabwe. We've got 2 people in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
But they are very different from you. Don't I was shocked when I was looking at the Independence documentary. A man called Andrew Grove. He was a commander of the detachment in Lopani, where he was shot through there and bled. He was 23 years of age. How old are you, man? How old are you? 24. He was younger than this. He was the detachment commander, a man who trained to kill, to destroy, to free Zimbabwe, to defend it, to sleep in the bush, to move all over, fighting helicopters, my Jess, my Puma, sleeping and eating nyoka. That person you think is like you. You don't understand. We are different. The people that went to war are people create. This young man, is still growing.
Yes.
So when Andrew Grove, they were growing, but they were being cultured, but change, but reconstruct, but everything. So by the time when you see Andrew Grove and you think you are the same with him, you are not being realistic. They were trained to take the country from the white colonialism. They were trained to kill Mabunu. They were trained to defend their country. They were trained to possess Zimbabwe from the white system that was so ingrained in this country. And they took it by force. 17 years in the bush, 16 to 20 years in the bush, fighting a system. And you all want to come tomorrow. You want to throw them away. No. You are mistaken. You must live realism.
Yes.
You must coexist. Look at what has happened, Manana Yangu. All countries zakaenda kuhonde Chimurenga, vana Mao, vana Frelimo, vana Angola, vana South Africa, vana Namibia swapo, vana Uganda,
yes,
vana Rwanda. Nothing has happened. Popular leaders have come and died. So we must appreciate this situation and then develop a system that must benefit the people of Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
The system that must be put in Zimbabwe here, in all these other countries that I've mentioned, is coexistence.
Okay.
The old and the new must fuse. The old and the new must fuse. You must tolerate each other. You must accept each other. Don't throw them away.
Yes.
Technology, we are trying to toss them. That is the way the government of GNU is being suggested.
Let's
say we are talking about the government of national unity.
All right.
You coexist with them. Then we can move.
Okay. So immediately after the by-elections, there was an audio that circulated on social media, purportedly to be you talking to someone on the phone, where you showed that the people had rejected you on the political party, just like you said. And I wanted to ask that is that the position that you still hold? Yes, you have confirmed. But if people have rejected the MDC, why are you still clinging onto it?
It's a question of not necessarily MDC. They've rejected the approach that we used, the strategies that we used. We did not manage to communicate to them for them to understand us. In any political situation, you must change strategy. You must change everything.
Yeah.
We had a similar problem in 2005, in which we almost lost. Remember, in 2000 elections, we had 57 seats. But come 2005, we lost those seats to 40, and we then looked at ourselves and said, okay, we've moved from 57 to 40. What has gone wrong? And we developed a strategy, which is well known as the Democratic Resistance Campaign, the DRC, I think the famous DRC. And we executed the DRC from 2006, 7, and we went to the election in 2008. We thundered ZANU-PF. Yes, ZANU-PF lost in everything. In the local government council, they lost. The parliament, they lost. President of vote, they lost. They even rigged the vote. Morgan Tsvangirai got 73.8%. Mugabe got 20-something 7%. And we won the election because we changed the strategy. We accepted.
You still bring the issue of rigging. I will allow you to continue on this one, but you still bring the question of rigging. Do you believe that, or are you convicted that there is rigging in this country?
Yes, of course, but not where they are monitored. Like they want to tell you the truth, they will never rig in urban centers. Because the monitors are there, they will never rig. In urban centers, because in Panama monitors, they will never rig. They will rig where they are.
But election monitors and the agents are all over the country.
No.
During elections.
No. Let me tell you what will happen in some other areas, especially in the farming communities.
Yeah.
In farming communities, no one wants to represent MDC. Vanochika kuzovictimize what they're after. Ne structure irimo yacho.
Okay.
Governance structure irimo manigekere. It's tight. And these guys, my farming communities, my new farmers, also those are ZANU-PF controlled areas. ZANU-PF scores around 84 to 86% in victory in those areas. I did the survey. I looked at my results. Shakari, and remember 2008 when we were verifying results, I was very serious about it. I looked page by page, and I got my results that I ZANU-PF scored 86% in those areas on average. And in those areas, hakuna polling agent anoda kumirira opposition party in those areas. You will not get one. Saka, but mukasvika apo muchaona pana polling agent. Anenge atonzi MDC. They will give you a polling agent kanzi MDC for the purpose of monitor.
What do you mean they give you?
Kuna ma strong area akafanana nana Mberengwa nana Muzarabane vaya in which the MDC inenge very weak. Saka vanhu vanozovane courage kuenda kuita ma-polling agents vashoma. Saka we got so many areas that will not be able to put polling agents. So ZANU-PF will never let power go because muri kuvota. So that kuti mozoti mimi notauta wina ne vote. In those areas they will do whatever they want, but they will never do anything. Remember the 2018 elections, we had V11 forms, plenty of them. Actually, with more than 80% V11 forms. But those V11 forms we could not even bring Ragatam. But they would do anything. They would tamper with all those things. Okay. But this was the element in But this was we need to. This is why we need things like national dialogue, inclusivity. We can deal with those things from a table so that at least we don't discredit our own systems. So
before we invited you on the program, we managed to speak to some people, and some have a feeling that with the thumping of the 26th March of the MDCT, it is signaling the end of your political career.
It's not necessarily true. We were thundered down in 2013. Remember 2013 elections? I experienced something quite cold. Remember that's the time I was arrested. I was in Chikurubi, and I was confident that we're going to win elections. And I was saying, tango win election, and
it did not happen.
When I then got results, that machine got one, Manika only 4. I said, hey, we lost the election dismally to a point we could take on my ball papers actually move.
Yes.
You know, that kind of extent of defeat. But we then sat down again. Election pan. Let us review. Let us see. We developed a new strategy, which is actually an aligned strategy, networking strategy, massive society. Those were 2 key strategies that we developed, and we had another 3rd strategy which we called Chakachaya. So we had 3 strategies that we had, and we said this strategy is going to give us more than 2 million votes. That was as far back as in 2014, and with a team that was working towards that, implementing it, executing it, monitoring it, evaluating it, and we checked it. And come election 2018, our vote was more than 2 million. So we've done it before. We can still do it today. Nothing is lost. MD is still there. It has got its own people. It's got the infrastructure on the ground. What we simply need to do is to change the strategy. And you know, there are 2 people in Zimbabwe. Those that support the ruling party, those that support the opposition. Those are the 2 people. So you must identify yourself. Where do you belong? If you belong to the ruling party, go there. If you go to the opposition party, do the oppositional politics. Yes.
So ZANU-PF will tell you that we ensure you the programs that they are doing. They talk of the Masvingo rehabilitation, the Masvingo Road rehabilitation is one of the projects, and many other projects that they are doing across the country. You said earlier you want to fish from their fish pond. How are you going to be able to convince?
The one thing that people should realize is ZANU-PF could try to build the economy. But sorry to say this. Kune vanhu vatinoti mandoonerepi. Anditi chinozvarwa chiri chidiki. Chinokura pachinosvika papa. Achichapfuuri. Chasaturate. Then chatosvika, chatokuna. Hambozoiti as tall as you are. Because Panama certain deficiencies are within the construction of that human being. Anditi those remove Zimbabwean economy. They can see Zuma flowers zvikiitika, Zuma chairs zvikiitika. But go now and ask a civil servant and ask civil servant ari kushanda uri kutambira mari $18,000 $20,000. Bvunza maticha arimo kuti umutambira mari $20,000. Bvunza masoja ari kumakembu, mapurisa ari kumakembu, masiya ari musystem mukutambira mari vakomana. They are earning around $20,000. Today's life, as we sit down today, ukakupa $20,000 unomwa doro rose mapiles 2 nikapera. You can't buy anything. And you are saying the economy is growing to its benefit. Do the growth of the Chimandone Repi, the growth that is going to be just flowering. Because you know we've reached a point of saturation. Yeah. Our greatest economist, Minister of Finance, is nowhere to go now. Vashikapam Gan is not going to go anywhere. What we are faced with now is a cliff, it's a collapse, it's uprisings, it's demonstrations, it's poverty, suicide, and crime. People are not earning anything now. We have now gone in the phase of modern slavery, where people go to work and paid nothing because the economy cannot carry, the economy cannot pay anyone. It has failed. The government has failed. Yeah. My president, Omnangagwa, he has tried his best, but it has failed because the system that is using will not give economic growth. There is no, as long as we don't dialogue, sit down together, share the same vision, don't help each other building economy, the Zimbabwean economy will not go no anyway. Vari gona kutambura vagodini iko zvotofana kutenda mvura iri kunaya dino mvura yakasinaisa makore apera dino tutori musinyasi akuna vatiri kuenda.
Should we wait for dialogue or because
dialogue must take place tomorrow.
Yeah, but I'm hearing you to say we have people who are outside those that are in power today who have skill, who can help take this country forward. For instance, yourself, do we have to wait for dialogue for you to then bring your expertise, bring your skill to the fore to help this country?
What we need to do is to have the dialogue tomorrow. And within a month's time, establish the government of national unity. A month's time. The day, let's have it. So that, you see what, where it goes wrong. Economy grow an input. Yes. And the input is not matombo ari pasa kana ivhuri mundo. It's the financial input. And vanotipa mari dzacho ndivari kuna na China, vana na America, vana Britain, Russia vacheva. As long as they don't support you, they will not give. One element that we must all accept: Zimbabwe is under real sanctions. By definition, Zimbabwe is under targeted sanctions. But by effect, those are international sanctions. Yeah. By definition, it's targeted sanctions. But by effect, the actual international sanctions, the actual United Nations sanctions. Only America, you just use the trick. They ignored the United States body to use it as a front to sanction us. And they took, that's a big bully, America. They took their influence. And they've sanctioned us. Zimbabwe is under real sanctions. As long as we don't deal with sanctions, the Zimbabwean economy will not grow. I talked to the Minister of Finance sometime in my early days when he was a minister. I looked at this document,
which one?
The one that he introduced first.
TSP.
The TSP. There were about 5 points that he was pushing forward. I said to him, only 5 of these points would make you become a great minister of finance. These other 7, they only help you. But the issue that was talking about those 5 issues was about the re-engagement, something to do with human rights issues and so forth. That's the way to go. We must, the moment we sit down as a family, we will deal with issues of human rights issues, we'll deal with issues of sanctions, issues of re-engagement, issues of, that is this way the solution is. Yeah. So the national dialogue, one of the agenda of the national dialogue that I have is to remove sanctions in Zimbabwe. That's one of the items that I want to be dealt with by the Zimbabweans themselves. If you have an approach which is inclusive in nature, where all political parties sit under whatever name they want to call it, some they can call it polar, some they can call it whatever, I don't care, as long as the political parties come together and they form a sector. We invite labor Don't ignore that. We invite labor, it becomes the second sector.
Yeah.
We invite churches, they become the third sector. We become business community, becomes the fourth sector. We also bring youth and women, become the fifth sector. And we dialogue among ourselves. And we come out with our document, our own document, which I want to call in what is called the Zimbabwe Charter, which contains the political issues, the economic issues, national healing, everything that we need in Zimbabwe. And we then take it as Zimbabweans too. We take it as Zimbabwe. We approach donors countrywide. We start with America and say, besides data, then who are you saving in Zimbabwe? All of us who are here. MDCT varipo, CC varipo, ZANU varipo, NDU varipo, Ningi varipo, Machesha varipo. That's the delegation in Zimbabwe. Suspend their units. We want to go our own way. We fly to Britain. Suspend their units. We want to go our own way. We fly to Europe, to Russia, to China, and wherever, India.
So where are the wheels coming off with regards to issue dialogue?
I'm pained, my dear brother.
Yeah.
But don't worry. Vision starts with one person. Majority will follow.
Okay.
Moses was the visionary of the Israelites.
Yes.
But with Moses, consistency and persuasions and untiring effort, the children of Israel, they were
taken to Canaan.
They were taken to Canaan. So what we need as MDC, we represent the vision. We represent what we believe is the solution for both ZANU-PF and opposition parties. ZANU-PF cannot be proud to run economy. So look at Harare, China.
Yeah.
Look at it. You cannot be proud to run a country in my portals. You can't be proud to run hospitals that have no medicine. You can't be proud to run civil service that's not paid. You cannot be proud to run such a poor economy. ZANU-PF is going to benefit a lot. The people of Zimbabwe will benefit a lot. Let us not fight for positions, please. Let us not fight for power, please. Let's fight for economic growth as Zimbabweans. Yeah. That's the agenda we are trying to push as MDC. Yes. Because you know that to waste time, to compete with Navachamisa, Papinama roads. Mchivatovunzwa mpara cabinet vakomichi mashubapi nenyaya national healing ndichitaura timumba reports hapana anotaura zvakashata about Zimbabwe outside the country. As long as we are not inclusive in our nature, vanotaura bad about Zimbabwe havafoka bva even ukasa mutemo wepatriotic bill, it's a waste of time, otherwise they will fill up majere. Nokuti kana ndichibelieve kuti iko ndakaitwa human rights abuse dzangu inini ndovunzwa nomwe munhu abva zvakada kuti ndikavhira nyaya yangu ndonyepa kuti hapana human rights abuse ini tinamanga kupusana andinotaura kuti onai bvisa hembe mavanga andinawo panapa andikapuwa naningi, and that tarnishes the country. Yeah. Yet the moment we are inclusive in approach, I experienced, my brother. You know, I'm one person who has been very lethal in my opposition politics in Chikura Pesap. But when I deputy minister of transport, it was very difficult for me now to say Mugabe Mudenga, Grace Mudenga, but I need Zaibga. It was very difficult because he was not my president. I was not focusing. I wanted to know my roads. I would spend most of the time inspect my roads progress. Remember, that's the time when we were building this road from Plumtree to Mtari. I was focusing on economic growth. Anyone who would ask me, I would talk positive about my country. But if you ask me, what positive thing will I talk about? What CC positive will I talk about? No. The only way, bring people together. Let's build our own governance system, which is African standard, Zimbabwean standard.
But there are a lot of positives that we can talk about. Do we wait, again I ask this question, do we wait for us to be in positions to talk positive about our country?
As long as somebody has been in a competition and someone feels that I was excluded, that person will be having chigumbu. You will not be positive. It will be theoretical. Okay. Unity is a practical process. You don't talk about unity by press. If you want to talk about unity, implement it. It's a deed factor. Unity. Unity is not something that would go up a radio to talk about unity. That's not unity. Unity, you practically implement it. Yeah. And the process here to national dialogue is a process of unity making. And that unity making, a common agenda, a common vision. We now build our nation. Yeah. And we can progress.
So let me try, we are about to wrap up now, but let me try to read some of the comments and questions that are coming from our viewers. Social Priest Musutu says, say Komichi, don't lie. If you recall the remaining MPs, then you remain with nothing. If you are really genuine, just recall them today. Tova Tangoti Maenda Kumakuba. That's another one is Christopher Nyoni. We are not going to vote for your party, Mr. Step Tan. But who do they want dialogue with? MDCT, just a building. Another one, Hilda Nkomo here says, you are a nightmare, Komichi. So why were you betraying the CCC, yet you are now telling fibs? Komichi, Dagi, Kupe, and Mzuri, go and join ZANU PF. You now realize, could even your people won't vote for you. Ivai papo, nai iwe Komichi. Dai maka wina waitaura zvamuri kutaura here zvemubatanidzwa izvi. A lot of
yes, because I hear that.
Yeah.
I really feel pity for people.
Yeah.
I feel pity for people. Mbatanidzwa, if you go back and check my Facebook,
yes,
my Twitter, as far back as 2018, 2019, 2020,
yes,
the issue of national dialogue and unity for the purpose of prosperity is always my language, and I will continue talking about that. And as leadership, we are not really worried much about such criticism. A vision cannot be a common thing. A vision must confuse people. A vision must be criticized. And the effort of the leadership is to educate the ordinary people who are not visionaries, so that at least they will appreciate the vision. When they understand the vision, they would support you. What we've done now as MDC, we've thrown the vision. We are happy. We are proud as MDC. We for the first time in our history, we celebrated independence as a family, as Zimbabwe. It was really a colorful thing. We are very proud. So already these are the dividends or the fruits, the germination of our effort. Even Nelson Chamisa, one of his presses, he said, I want national dialogue, and I want to deal with issues, and he wanted to deal with electoral reforms. That's positive. That's positive. He's now converting his popularity into a useful product. You might actually have popularity and have no product. I think Job Scala said it in one of his old videos. So the route, which is strategic in nature, is the one to, let's use the popularity in order to have productivity.
Yes.
And the productivity, yes, Zimbabwe in nature, national dialogue. The national dialogue, yes. Kuchinja politics, I couldn't say, man. Who knew we didn't see more almost taking the show. You will only miss the game when you flew to America. But young men had taken the show. He had taken the rag under Shangri's feet. Shangri was the most popular politician of our time. But change of strategy can make things change. Ivanimore did it, and you almost became our God.
So I have two questions before we wrap up. The first one is, I want you to reflect and comment on this one. It's a comment. It says sanctions are here to stay as long as ZANU PF is in power. Greba must go now, period. This is from Debbie Mtondo. Sanctions are still here to stay as long as ZANU PF is in power. I want you to reflect on that one.
It's very unfortunate for Debbie. He or she lacks a lot of knowledge in terms of how sanctions have been used world over. Sanctions have never changed any regime in the entire world since they were imposed. Look at Africa, look at the whole Southern Africa, you look at South America and everywhere else. Sanctions have never achieved their goals in terms of percentage. I think if they've achieved, if you give it 1%, you would then celebrate. But I want you to do the research. So sanctions actually don't change any government. Actually, they harden the rulers. The rulers become ruthless, and they would use it as an excuse to abuse people or choose violence, and they will become hardened, and they will defend it. Zimbabwe went to war for 16 years. Those people fought a system that was very complicated. internationally funded system, and they destroy it using guns and everything else.
Yes.
What do you think they would feel when an opposition leader talks? They will laugh. It doesn't have even any impact or any effect on them. They are prepared to see you dying in Zara, because during the war they died more than 5,000 people at Chimoyo. They died in Zambia, they died in Malawi, sorry, in Tanzania, they died in Zimbabwe here. They died. Saka, when you then try to threaten and disrespect them, and you think they would change and they will give you Nika like that, you are daydreaming. So as long as sanctions are going to remain there, the sufferers are not the government. The sufferers are the ordinary people. Yeah? Today, the people that are on targeted sanctions, like when I'm coming to Agwire today, can you compare my life as Komichi near Agwire? Because you know, I anticipate my sanctions, but I can't go to America, I can't buy a ticket. I'm not on sanctions, I can't go to Britain because I can't buy a ticket. While this Agwire can go to Russia, to whatever, Canada, because he can buy a ticket. So who is actually suffering out of the targeted sanctions on Agwire? The actual person who is suffering is me and you, the ordinary person. So the people that are getting employment, all those people that are on sanctions, if you look at them, they are all rich. So the sanctions, actually, my victims of sanctions are the ordinary people. It's us, you, Debbie, and your sister and your mother, and everyone else, your friends, who are the ones that are suffering. Saka tukususu sanctions pachao ega ngaende and tugona visa tata collective effort as Zimbabweans. We got methods and strategies of removing them. Tama suspended the one per 2009 2014 they were suspended, and this country enjoyed the economic support from other countries. Ma credit lines akavurwa takawana zvinhu zvikatanga kufamba handizve basirika. So we said down as Zimbabweans, we should be able to remove sanctions, and we must put effort to remove sanctions as Zimbabweans. Akaramba aripo, the government will not go because of sanctions, but it's also as Zimbabweans who continue to suffer.
So my last question to you, Senator Komichi, is going to be on 2023, the elections, and as the MDCT, you said that earlier you have a new strategy, you're developing a new strategy, maybe to communicate the message that you have to the people. The question that remains is your candidate, the president of the MDCT now, sellable? Is he still speaking to the people? Is he still relevant? Are you not seeing a situation where you are selling a product that may not have takers?
It's not necessarily a product that we are selling. You know, in marketing, you have to redesign products.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a good marketer, you might need to change the color of the container. If it was blue,
or the product itself.
If it was blue, you would change it to red. For red, you change it to, or you mix. The same product can still be bought. I think you've heard things like Coca-Cola on the market for so many years, but there've been always new adverts coming to try to decorate it and moderate it. We do appreciate. Yes, of course, our brand suffered quite a huge dent, and these results do show. So we are committed to redesign, to make sure that we modify and make sure that the brand becomes sellable. By the results of the last election, yes, of course, we got it tough.
But I'll ask you this way: don't you think it's better to have a new representative, a new candidate?
I think that is the choice given to the people. The people of any party, ZANU, CC, MDC, go for national congresses. I know ZANU-PF is going to have the elective congress end of this year. If they want to maintain Mnangagwa, if he's sellable, they will maintain him. If he's not sellable, they would put him aside. MDCT is going for congress in June. This June, the people of MDC will have the right to elect the leader who is there, or a new leader. It's a democratic right. And the CC, I understand, they're also preparing for their congress. If they want to maintain Misa, they will maintain. If they want to Abiti, they will put Abiti. So it's a democratic right of the people of any church. So the people have got the final say at the end. What I might wish as individual might not carry a day. What carries the day is what the people feel. People judge us, look at us, and are we presenting the right work that is wanted by the people. So MDC is going for the Congress. They'll make their decision.
Okay.
Everyone who's prepared to give his name for election will put his name or her name for election, and people will make a decision.
You're quite eloquent and convicted on the issues that you're talking about, and we are only 2 months out into the Congress that you're talking about. Are you putting up your name for presidency?
I'm going to put my name for the position of the vice president.
Okay.
That one is a sure case. If I don't get it.
What do you mean? You quit?
If I don't get it, that's how serious I am.
You okay, there you have it, and it's on SlyMedia TV. If he doesn't get elected vice president of the MDCT in the upcoming Congress in June, he calls it quits. That's Senator Morgan Komichi. I enjoyed the show, and let me say thank you so much for those that joined us, those that contributed. I can assure you that we're going to have a lot and more of these conversations as we look at the country's body politic. How can we improve our politics? How can we ensure that there is tolerance and development of the tolerance, political tolerance that is. My name is Perfect Longwane. We meet again on other shows. Have a good day.